They say confidence is everything, that a smile, a steady voice, and the right suit can open any door. But what if that confidence was a lie? This is the story of a man who made the world believe, simply by looking like he belonged. He didn't steal with a gun or a mask. He stole with charm. And he taught us that sometimes the most dangerous weapon is charisma. This is the story of Frank William Abagnale Jr., the boy who lied his way into history. Before the millions, before the forged checks and stolen flights, there was a boy standing in the ruins of his parents' marriage, watching the only two people he loved fall apart. Frank was 16 when the home he knew turned cold. His father, a salesman with a silver tongue, taught him charm, how to smile when you're losing, how to shake hands like you mean it, how to make people feel seen. His mother, Paulette, taught him elegance, poise, grace. But neither taught him stability. When they divorced, Frank had to choose between them. He chose neither. He ran. That day, he'd say later, I left home and never looked back. With $50 and a head full of confidence, he set out into the world, a boy wearing a man's ambition. It was there, in the loneliness of small towns and cheap motels, that he discovered something extraordinary. People see what they want to see. If you walk like you belong, they let you in. If you sound like authority, they don't ask for proof. And that was all he needed to begin. The year was 1964. Frank was 17, broke, and tired of being invisible. Then one afternoon, while watching pilots stride through a terminal, sharp uniforms, calm confidence, admiration in every glance, he had an idea. What if he didn't pretend to be a man? What if he became one? He found a uniform supplier, claimed he was a Pan Am co-pilot who'd lost his suit, and with a forged ID and that disarming smile, he walked out as Captain Frank Williams. People see the uniform, he said later. They see the title. They never see the boy. In that uniform, doors opened. Banks cashed his fake paychecks without question. Hotels upgraded his rooms. Stewardesses smiled at him like he was someone worth knowing. For the first time, Frank wasn't running. He was flying. But charisma is a double-edged weapon. The more people believe him, the more he believed himself. He didn't crave the money. He craved the respect. I wasn't stealing cash, he once said. I was stealing moments of admiration. That hunger made him bold. Soon, he was impersonating a doctor, then a lawyer. Each lie was a mirror, reflecting back the image he wished his father could see. From white coats to courtrooms, he moved through the world like an illusion that refused to fade. By 1968, Frank had stolen more than $2.5 million through forged checks across 26 countries, all before his 21st birthday. He was living in a fantasy of his own making. But even the best stories end when the audience stops clapping. It started in a Miami airport. A Pan Am pilot struck up a casual conversation. Which base you out of, kid? Frank froze for half a second, then smiled. New York, he said. I'm on Deadhead. The man nodded, but suspicion lingered. Moments later, he made a phone call. That was all it took. Within weeks, the FBI had connected the dots. Special Agent Joseph Shea began tracking him. A man as relentless as Frank was charming. He's not stealing money, Shea told his team. He's stealing identity. The chase crossed continents, New York to France, Sweden to Brazil. And then, in 1969, the mask finally cracked. A hotel clerk in Montpellier recognized him from a wanted poster. When he checked in again, she called the police. Frank was arrested. The man who once slipped past banks, airlines, and entire governments was undone by the one thing he couldn't control: recognition. Thrown into a French prison cell the size of a closet, his voice, the instrument of every lie, went silent. For the first time, he said, I wasn't anyone anymore. The boy who built a life out of illusion was left with nothing but truth. Frank Abagnale wasn't driven by greed. He was driven by validation. Psychologists called him a narcissist, but that label was too simple. He wasn't obsessed with himself. He was obsessed with who others thought he was. He didn't manipulate out of malice. He did it out of longing. People treated me the way I'd always wanted to be treated, he admitted. I just had to lie to earn it. He had learned that charm isn't just a skill, It's camouflage. He could read people's wants, their fears, their insecurities. He mirrored them back perfectly, and they mistook that reflection for connection. If you can make someone feel seen, he said, they'll never see through you. But charisma is addictive, and every addiction ends the same way, with a withdrawal you can't escape. In prison, the applause finally stopped, and in the silence he heard something new: regret. In 1971, FBI agent Joseph Shea, the man who caught him, offered him a chance at something real. "You've got talent," Shea said. "Use it for good." Frank agreed. He began working with the very people who once hunted him, teaching the FBI how to detect and prevent fraud. He understood forgery better than anyone alive because he perfected it. Years later, he founded Abagnale Associates, consulting for banks, corporations, and law enforcement worldwide. He married, raised 3 sons, and built a new kind of reputation, this time an honest one. But the shadow of his past never disappeared. Some questioned his stories. Others doubted his sincerity. Frank didn't argue. "I don't expect you to believe me," he told a journalist. "I expect you to verify me." That line, part confession, part redemption, summed up his entire life. Frank Abagnale Jr. became living proof that charisma can both build and destroy, that the line between persuasion and deception is thinner than we think. He didn't start out a criminal. He started out as a boy who wanted to matter, and when the world finally believed him, he forgot how to stop pretending. "It's not how smart you are," he said once. "It's how much you want people to believe you." In the end, his greatest con wasn't the millions he forged. It was convincing himself that admiration was the same as love. Charisma is power. It can inspire or destroy. And in the wrong hands, it becomes the most beautiful kind of weapon. Because the truth is simple. A great lie never sounds like one. It sounds like confidence. If this story chilled you, remember, not all criminals hide behind masks. Some hide behind charm. This is Criminal Mindset.